Wait.
I got it now.
Somebody wants to go grab a cooler from my car. There's Diet Coke in it. start every meeting with the same thing that has just come off the screen. At Charleston Vision, anyways, we believe in creating an authentic environment built on the foundation of productivity and collaboration. This inspires our people to achieve their business goals and design legacies worth leaving. We're going to talk a little bit about the legacy worth leaving as we dive into some of the content today. But we can't do great things without great people, and one of the greatest people, Artavon. Well, thank you.
Frisbee.
Oh.
Next stage. Like, yeah, not very good on stages, you know, so like.
Be careful of the cords.
I do a little more for a shot. How are everyone? Well. Hey, very good. Very good. So my name is Artavon. I'm with Franco's for home warranty. So you know me, don't want to film, please get to know me. I'm there all the time. So thanks for being here. Thanks for having me. Not going to take too much time, just a few minutes. Just want to remind you of a few things. First of all, thank you for 2024. It's been a great year. All the businesses in my way. Thank you. Any questions about the warranty? Do you guys have anything you guys need to know about a warranty? Anything you expect from a home warranty company?
I had a question. What's covered as far as a roof? Anything?
So roof usually falls under home insurance, but we do have roof leak repair. That falls under standard 499 warranty. Great question. Any other questions about the roof? Patron. What about it?
What's covered for that, please?
So that's a long list. So on that one, so actually on page 4 and 5 of the warranty, we bold things that don't cover. So you can always show that to your client, you can always take a look at it to see, and we go based on what your contractor says because we don't have contractors. Right.
Do you have your own contractors?
Yes, no, we don't have contractors.
So we can choose ours?
Yes. The homeowner gets to call whoever they want, they can visit spouse if they want to. Yeah.
For the 32-year-old HVAC.
We don't have age restrictions. We do not have a square footage limitation either.
Oh.
So with that said, I know that new rules are coming out next year for HVAC. What will happen because you won't be able to fix some of the older units, so now what will happen with replacement?
So if the contractor cannot find it, then it's not. So, but as far as like the age of it or whether, if it can be found, then we pay for it. So I always recommend adding the upgrade to your warranty because that's where we cover Freon. We do not put a cap on Freon because we allow homeowners to choose a licensed contractor. So let's say someone's HVAC breaks, they're gonna call the best company. The best company not gonna put a Band-Aid on. They want you to get out, properly fix it up with air Freon on it. So always add the upgrade. Any other questions?
What differentiates America's Preferred from other outlets outside of just how basically right?
Thank you. So we allow homeowners to choose their own licensed contractors for everything. I mean, maybe let's go to the next one. For your listings, you can actually use the listing as a tool to get listings. So if you have potential clients, people that are not sure if they want to list, that have all their homes, you can always offer the warranty because we do not charge until closing. So if you have a listing, you can get a warranty on it, use the home warranty while the home before paying for it. Once it goes to close and gets paid for, it becomes a full 12 months for the buyer. If the buyer gets a full 12 months, the seller gets to use it for things that come up during the home inspection. If the home goes to close, the warranty gets paid for, it becomes a full 12 months. If he doesn't go to close, even if he repaired something in there, you just stay friends. They don't charge you homeowner, they don't have to pay for a warranty. So that's for your listing. For the buyers, give a copy of the brochure to your buyer before you take him out, showing the homes. We actually cover everything we do not cover in here. So on page 4 and 5, we actually bold things that we don't cover. So you can give that to the client, you can look at it before going out through their homes. If they want more details, we do have a QR code on the back, they can always scan that. Lastly, the E&O coverage. No elections.
What coverage?
E&O, errors and emissions. So we ask you to offer us your clients. When your clients purchase our warranty, we cover up to $5,000 of your E&O deductible, or 100% of it. Any questions on that? Okay.
Oh, not on that. Going back to, if you have your contractor, do you have a list of people they have to choose from, or they can choose
You
it?
can choose whoever. Everything happens at all. Now, if you call and say, hey, I don't have time to look for a contract here. In 29223, send me a list of people that work on HVAC before. Can send you a list of people that be paid, but they're not affiliated with us in any way. Okay. So E&O coverage. So when your client buys a warranty, you automatically get our E&O coverage. When they do not want a warranty, we actually have a waiver on our brochure. Have them sign the waiver. So as long as the waiver is signed, we will still cover 75% of your E&O deductible. Now, there's nothing in order letter in the brochure because you don't want any clients to say like, oh, I can sue my agent, you know, so like there's nothing in here letting it. But if they buy the warranty, when they buy a 650 warranty, we cover their E&O, you cover your E&O 5,000 or 100%. If they decline the warranty, we cover 75% of their E&O. Last one. Every time you do buy a warranty, you do get $50 through the market center. So please come see me, give me a call, shoot me a text. I would love to talk to you about it, how you can actually generate revenue from that. And we do have ways to lead generate with a home warranty. So just come to me after, we'll talk to you about that. Thanks.
Thank you for that.
Good, perfect, everyone. Awesome, let's tell me something good. From all of the year, give me some of your biggest wins from the year.
Speak at the regional event.
Holly got to speak the original.
My K-score process and how successful it's been.
That's awesome, huge win. Well,
I think the key part of that is it wasn't just some random choosing of Holly because she's a great speaker, which she is. It was because of her success with baseboard, and she represented amazingly well. By the way, if you've never been to training a presenter, she's evident of that.
I was gonna say, I had a great trainer position.
What else? Sean, you got anything you want to brag on?
No.
For the leadership team this year.
Thank you, Sean.
Sean's team is, I'll brag on it.
Yeah, there we go.
I know you want this. That's like the best thing.
No. Because your K-score.
2 years, 3 years, whatever it's been. He's in the process of building his team. He's gonna hit $1 million in GCI this year, so.
A lot of benefit, a lot of hard work.
Graduated K-score.
And 8 months of that, in 8 months of those 2 years, we're on a submarine. We're not for. I don't know if you know that story, Sean, but I tell everybody that. I said, you did it.
He does.
Give me another 2.
I beat my volume last year.
Peter volume last week. I also know somebody else in here that's having her best year. Sarah Waycastle is having a great year. Almost 100% of your open houses gave you a client. So if you're looking at doing open houses, talk to Sarah about it.
Thank you.
Be volunteer to do that. So 100%.
Seeing more people in the room.
Yes, more people in the room is great. The last team meeting of the year, nonetheless.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna see 3 faces.
Right?
It's Christmas, so this is exciting.
Nice.
This is exciting. What else?
I want to fill Shakina's bucket for the event invitation playbook that she sent me to make Fall's best smart plans a success. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's brag about Fall Fest.
Yes.
So thank you.
That was
was-
awesome.
Definitely a win for our team, and I know for you all too. Our goal, and I'll go ahead and put this out there, is that we want to have 3 client events next year. So stay tuned. We'll keep y'all posted on those dates. So our goal is to get those out with ample amount of time to provide. So
Thanks for one.
1,500 clients.
close to 1,600 clients.
1,600 clients. More clients. What?
We had 2,300 signed up, which is a great turnout for that amount of.
As far as when we first planned it to sign up, we thought maybe a couple hundred.
Yeah,
Like thinking 500, like.
extending the invite, like adding more tickets to it, because I was like, 400. Then the goal was 1,000, and then I was like, okay, we're back past that. Lost on.
We all had them being leashed around it too. I think we were having.
During the week, no, it's.
nobody's coming, and I think next year, I mean, Jan looked at me while we were there and said, this thing is going to be so big next year.
My house afterwards next year.
Part of it. I like that idea. Oh, yeah.
Like 4 days before that, I thought I had 20 grand inside for that.
What else? How much money is that?
Well, well, as someone who does events, I will thank you all because it saved me money.
Well, in full disclosure, they modeled the event after how we should be doing it as agents, because it was a very efficient event, but yeah, I mean, it was money that the market centers were more than willing to spend. I mean, you guys still had to spend money to get out there. It was, but they did a great job as far as leveraging sponsors and everything, so.
And one of the things you'll see next year, we're always gonna do like even the 100, when you get the whole 100 generated referrals, when we put on the client event. We're doing these things as a leadership team to model what it looks like to build your business. And what was awesome about, and I'll brag on them, what was awesome about the Fall Fest and what you'll see moving next year for the 3 events next year is that everything is done for you. All you have to do is take the smart plan, take the invites, take the flyers, take the branding, all the marketing stuff, take it, put your little logo on there, your number, send it out to your database. You can set it up in Command. I think she did it through Command, right? So you can literally download the smart plan. Super, super simple. We want to remove as many obstacles as possible so that you can get into production and do the highest dollar producing activity. So you'll see that a lot more. But that's the point. So we're modeling what it looks like to grow a business. Right, so take what we're doing and appreciate, oh, that's on page 138 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the full 100, right? Or the event, and you'll see a lot more of that stuff next year. Any others?
Who had the biggest sale?
Some people shut down homes.
Really?
Pretty good. Yeah, $6 million. Jack?
Million, it's a listing at 6,390,000.
But you got it all. How long have you been working with this person?
Well, he's a friend from high
How
school.
long have you been working with this person? This is the database.
Seriously, I guess, maybe the last year, really, year or two, yeah.
You're following up. Let's do it.
Get our Twitters.
Now keep the lights on. We're gonna talk.
Interested in oceanfront outcomes, great rental history, so. All of it.
Awesome. So we are going to get, we're crossing this off a little bit, so we'll just leave this up here.
We changed.
Yeah, so we changed. So Vince, a lot, the stuff that we're gonna talk about, we're gonna cover 3 little topics today, and you've all heard all 3 of these topics at some point. But today, one of the ahas I had, where Vince was talking about what he's bringing. He's like, you've heard it 6 times. It's like, well, I haven't heard it yet. So I spend 8 hours a day with Vince, and he's talked about it 6 times. I still haven't heard what he's bringing. And it's gonna be the same things that we're bringing. These are the 3 biggest things that we're taking into next year from an impact standpoint. And if you've ever sat in a room with me, what real estate business are we in? I'll start with mine. What business are we in?
Relationships.
Gary Keller calls it on page 1 of the MREA. We're in the close.
Lead generation.
We're in the lead generation business because what's our job? This is interactive. What is our job? To sell homes. Great. These aren't none of these are trick questions. I promise. Every time I do this, people are looking at me like these are all trick questions. I promise. None of the questions I'm about to ask are hard. Our job is to sell houses. Who do we sell houses to? People. So if we don't talk to people, we don't get to. So what is the core of our job? Talk to people. Bam. So we've talked about this before, but how do we talk to more people? Well, there's 4 laws that describe it. And what are they? They're called the 4 laws of lead generation. What's number 1?
Build a database.
Build a database. Thank you so much. Because again, this is why we're repeating this, because I talk about this before every class and everything we teach. And everybody should be screaming from the rooftops, the 4 laws of generation, because we just agreed. Without these laws, we don't get to sell houses, which is our job. Because we sell houses to People, we can't sell houses to people if we don't talk to people. So number one is to build a database. Number one, build a database. If you are going to do anything this year, you better lock in your database. What's the conversion rate of a database? 100. Done right over time, it should be 100%. What's that? The turnover of a database is 3 to 6%. 3 to 6%. If it's in a down market, we're going to see 3%. If it's in an up market, we're going to see 6% going into next year. Let's build our business plan on 3%, meaning that if we talk to people in our database, there's 100 of them, we should expect how many transactions next year? 30.
3 to 6.
3 to 6%. So again, if you're saying I want to sell 12 homes next year, how many people do you need? How many people do you need in your database? 400. 400 to 200 people in your database. Does that make sense? So number one, what are we doing before we leave anything? Make sure we have a database in one place. Now we've got all these names. What do we have to do?
Feed it.
Feed it. Because there's going to be a gap. Because we just agreed that our database is worth how much? What percent? 3 to 6%. So if I have 100 people in my database and I only ever have 100 people in my database, we'll only ever sell homes 3 to 6. And the next year, when I'm sitting there saying, man, I only sold 3 to 6 homes, what happened? Because I didn't grow my database. I didn't grow the number of people that I get to talk to on a daily basis. Does that make sense? So if we want to continue to grow our database, we have to, what business are we in? The lead generation business. Yes, Shaquille.
Can I point out a point that
Please.
we talked to our agents in career development about your database? Your database does not have to be the person doing the transaction.
Correct.
I have people in my database that have never bought a house from me, but for me referrals.
Correct. These are the people, it's 3 to 6% of your database is going to buy, sell, invest in real estate, or refer you to somebody that's going to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Okay. So number two is feed it daily. Find out the gap. Where do you want to go? Work with your coach to say, these are the number of people I have in my database. This is what the number of transactions. That'll identify a gap, and your coach will hold you accountable to the plan you set. Feed it daily does not mean cold call. Feed it daily means open houses. Feed it daily means going to coffee with more people. If you listen to the Jay Packman podcast, he just went to coffee with one person once a week. How many people does he have in his database now?
Like almost 800 just from that one.
Almost 800, just consistency over time, going to database, going to coffee. So feed it daily, build a coach, build your plan. Why don't I go to comment about feed it real quick? Yeah.
So one of the beautiful things about this entire conversation is the simplicity. And I know that we all want to complicate everything. I thought the agents knew that, right? Top agents, agents that are just getting into the business, it doesn't matter. Everybody wants to complicate things because this sounds too easy. It's too simple. When in reality, success lies in the simple. When we complicate things, we just complicate things to justify our inaction. I would 100% write that down. Complicate things because we justify our inaction. But it's an important concept, right? We can't move fast if we don't go simple first, right? And if we want to who wants to do better than they did this year? Anybody? It's okay if you don't. But what's the first step to getting better? Being different. The first step to getting better is to get different, right? And if I wasn't feeding it every day, what's the easiest way or the easiest thing I can implement in my business today to feed it daily? If you're a producing agent currently. Want the answer? To set up a system that generates an appointment of every transaction that you have. Because I know that I'm looking at a bunch of agents that I've sold with in the past in this room, right? And I would ask, on your last transaction, how many appointments or how many referrals, said differently, did you get on that last transaction? Because I know a lot of people in here say I'm 100% referral-based business. But if you didn't get an appointment and a referral on your last transaction, then ask yourself about the one before that. Did you get one? I played this game with another agent in the office. We went back 4 transactions, and now that person is a referral-based business, right? That's what he wants to be. Yeah, we went back 4 transactions. And it wasn't until 4 transactions ago that he got a referral. What does it expose? It exposes that you didn't have a system to ensure that you got a referral on every transaction. You orphaned the buyer or seller in the middle of the transaction or at the very end. So we don't want to be in a transactional business. We want to be in a sustainable business. And we know that we have to feed our database every day. So if I want a referral-based business, the easiest way to feed it every day is to just ensure that I have a system to generate a referral from every transaction that I close. Now, if I do 12 transactions in that year, how many referrals did I just generate at least with my system that I focused on implementing before the beginning of the year? 12. So I just doubled my business with one simple system. And it's a system that everybody in here would say they want. But would you agree? Because everybody in here wants to be a referral-based business. Nobody wants to do crazy stuff like him, cold call every day. So it's about 1% of the agent base. I haven't run across this much, right? So that's why I'm saying go simple. What's the one thing I could change that would change my business? Add a post-transaction system that generates 100% of every transaction giving me a referral. Does that make sense? That's how I want you to think about this.
And to give you something to swallow on that, the system's called My Promise. So when I sit down,
This is one system.
this is one system. So when I sit down with Jackie and I decides to list her house with me, and say, Jackie, here's the last thing I want to sign before we go into moving forward. It's my promise to you. And in that, I'm going to explain every single thing that I'm going to do for you. And I'm going to communicate, and whatever your unique value proposition is, write it down. And if you don't have a unique value proposition, you're just another agent with a sign hoping that they like you more. So what's your unique value proposition? Promise it to them. Have them sign it. But at the end of it, it says, and if I did a good job, you'll send me one referral throughout this transaction. And if not, at the closing table, I'll ask what I could have done better. Because when they're selling a house or buying a house, what are they talking to everybody about? It's the only thing they're talking about, I promise you. And what are those people saying? Oh, I was thinking about buying a house. Oh, I was thinking about selling my house. How's the market? They're thinking about this to those people. Because they're not buying a house or selling a house in secret. It's the biggest thing going on in their life. And if you're like me, I love to talk about myself. And so do they. Well, when you're Ivy League educated and have a Division I athlete. Oh, you were on it. But then at the end of the transaction, and you don't mention it, and at the end of the transaction, they will have forgotten most of the time to send you that referral because it was a quick promise and you delivered it well, but they didn't. At the end of the transaction, you're going to sign, you can go, congratulations, and then I'm going to close everything. And I'm going to say, hey, Jackie, can I ask a quick question? Jessica's going to say, great, she's on a high right now. She just bought or sold a house. And she's going to say, well, yeah, what's going on? I said, what could I have done better? She's going to say, nothing better. This was a great transaction. What are you talking about? And then you're going to pull out the promise and you're going to say, well, Jackie, remember, if I delivered on all of these things, you had said that you would send me a referral. And I just want to know what I could have done better to have earned a referral from you. And they're going to go into a spiral, and then they're going to say, no, you did a great job. Well, I'll think of somebody. Okay, well, I want you to focus on moving into your house. Would it be okay if I call you in 3 days to see if you thought of anybody? And all of a sudden, you're going to have 2 or 3 referrals from them. Just one system to use.
There are one. You can go to, there's a book called Ninja Selling. It's a 15-step protocol for after closing. Like really easy to implement, quick to implement as well. Right. So the point here is there's 2 examples of a post-close system. So one to think about getting referrals from our database to feed our database in a different way, right? So the third,
Awesome. So now we have all these people in the database. We're growing it every single day. What are we supposed to do? Communicate, just in general or in a systematic way. Great. So we communicate in a systematic way because you have 500 people in your database. You can't remember to talk to them all. Keller Williams, we have a system. What do we call it? DTD2. That's 4 touches. So what's the other one?
30 touches.
D2, that is 8 touches. And then we have a 36 touch. You do both of these. There's 8 touches in that 36 touch, and they're holidays. The reason we do 36 touch, why? Is it just an arbitrage number that Gary gave us? It's because it's the time, it's 36 divided by 365 is the time window gap it takes for somebody to make a decision to buy, sell, invest, or refer them to buy, sell, invest in real estate. So you're always at the forefront of the mind. We talk about the Nordstrom. When I walk into Nordstrom, what do they say? You've all heard these stories.
Can I help you?
And you say,
I'm just kidding.
all right. And then you go to the back and you find your pair of shoes. Do you go to the person who said they could help you?
No.
You go to the person closest to you. Because why would you walk to the front of the store? You forgot about that person. But they said they could help you. Sarah's superpower when she does her open houses is every single person that walks through Sarah's open houses, she says, can I help you? And what do they most of the time say?
No.
No. But do you stay in touch with them over time? And then when they're ready, they call you. That's the difference. Because the real estate market is just like Nordstrom. They're going to use you when they're ready. And what I also want to talk about the 36 touch. The 36 touch doesn't look like this. They walk into Nordstrom and say, can I help you? And then you walk a couple of streets and you look at a couple of blocks and you look up the shirts and then they say, and then you walk up to another shirt and they say, can I help you? And they're popping out of the curtains and they're doing all this stuff. That's not what a 36 touch looks like. A 36 touch does not look like, hey, Sarah, you think about buying or selling? Hey, Delisha, are you thinking about buying or selling? I know you weren't last week, but maybe today you're thinking about buying, selling, investing in real estate. That's not what a 36 touch looks like. A 36 touch is value, value, value over time. What can I provide you? It doesn't have to be real estate related. It just has to be value, making sure that they know that you're the real estate agent. But sitting there asking somebody 36 times, can you buy, sell, or invest in real estate with me? I promise you, I will block all of your numbers. Okay. So
It's not needed and useful, like those words, needed and useful, must be needed and useful. And that's what's going to, and then the quarterly call, which is the DTD2, right, do the database too. The quarterly call is just a follow-up on that kind of, on that info. Hey, what are your real estate goals in 2025? That is such a simple question. What are your real estate related goals this year?
Or we have the school fall festival at our office. What
Yeah.
come to
My guess.
Because the phone's a lot heavier, I'm gonna do this call, okay? Tell me which one is a heavier conversation. Hey, Jackie, are you thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? I know we haven't talked in a year. Or, hey, Jackie, we're holding an event. I know we haven't talked in here, but you're on my list of people. It's a free event for you and anybody you want to come. Is that something you'd be open to? I can send you some more information. Which phone was lighter? It's a lot easier to pick up the phone and say, hey, Shenandoah, you just made $10,000. Can I give it to you?
Yep.
Anybody would make that call, right? You don't say like, I'm terrified to make cold calls, but if I told you you could call somebody and give them $10,000, all of you would do it, right?
Yeah.
That phone wouldn't be heavy. But the reason the phone's heavy is because you don't believe in the value you provided. Sound cool? Awesome. Now, number 4. This one's my favorite. I draw pictures, so please make this interactive. Now, what do we sell?
Real estate.
Houses. What does everybody have? Most people that we're interacting with, they have a roof over their heads. So what's really, really cool about this industry, and one of my favorite things about the industry, is we're not selling a tech product that nobody needs. We're selling a product that every single person needs. Meaning that you now, who's your customer base? Literally everybody. Literally everybody is your customer base. Maybe not right now, but in 10 years, in 5 years, in 5 days. So we service how many leads? Just the ones in our database, or all leads? And I spelled this wrong, but service all leads. Okay, service all leads. Everybody you interact with ever, because here's how the story works. I go into the grocery store. Thank you. I go into the grocery store, and what do I meet Sarah. And I get to talk to Sarah. We're having a good conversation. And I said, I'm in real estate. And she says, oh my gosh, I just bought my house a year ago. We love it. It's a 2-bedroom house. And Sarah, I'm going to use an example, so please don't get mad at me. It's a 2-bedroom house. They've got 1 kid. And she says she loves her house. They don't have a plan on moving. And I forget about Sarah. But what I don't know is Sarah's going to go and find out they got another kid on the way. And that 2-bedroom house doesn't work anymore. So there's 2 ways that we can get leads. How do we do it? We can spend our time and we can buy them. The 2 things that we hate to waste the most in this world are what? So the only way that I can make business is by spending time or money. And the 2 things I hate to waste the most are time and money. But I see so many of us wasting both of those. So we all agree the only way I can meet somebody is time and money. If somebody could fall down from the ceiling right now, there's a lot of construction going on. And now I still have to spend my time talking to them. We agree?
Yeah.
So I can only spend my time or money. So, and they're going to say 2 things. In that situation, Sarah just said, what?
Later.
Later.
I'm not, yeah.
1% of the time. 1% of the time, you're gonna have somebody say, oh my God, Ben. Was just on Zillow, saw this house at 123 Main Street. I want to go look at it. Can you show it to me? And what do we do with those people that say right now? We build, I want you to picture massive fence, armed guards, tanks running around it, alligators, they're pinned in our text messages because they're gonna pay us, right? And that's where most of us live. And that's where most of us get burnout. Is because we're spending all of our time lead generating, chasing 1%. 1% of the time they're gonna say yes. You meet 100 people, 1% of the time they're gonna say yes. You're gonna call it luck and be like, I don't know, it's not working. These open houses don't work. Well, no, duh. Because you're chasing it, you're meeting 100 people, you're doing 10 open houses to get one to say yes to you, and of course it doesn't work. But the other time, what are they gonna say to you? Because you sell real estate and everybody needs a roof over their heads. But 99% of the time, what do they say to you? Not right now. Said differently is
Later.
Later, gator. But here's the issue. This fence, it's been kicked over by teenagers. It's wood rot. It was put up 100 years ago. There's nobody protecting that. And this is where most of our businesses look like, is we're spending all of our time and money chasing 1%, building a big fence around this, getting burnout because this takes a lot of freaking work. This is more fun, but we're so worried about paying our bills right now that we're not building a business for the future. And so what this looks like is you meet somebody, you forget about them, and then they meet another real estate agent. And then they meet another real estate agent. And then they meet another real estate agent. And then all of a sudden they click on Zillow and they go see a house. But they met 10 other real estate agents in that time. And none of them built a fence around their later business. So if you want to build massive success and massive wealth in this industry, service all these. So in 2025, stop chasing this, because I get we all have to pay our bills, but build a fence around this later business. Communicate with all of your leads. Feed it daily. Have it in a database. And I promise you, you won't feel the same burnout you're feeling this year. Because this is more fun, I promise. And what's going to happen is you're going to build a fence around your later business. And in 6 months, you're going to call somebody in the office and be like, yeah, best year of my life. I'm being so lucky. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're just following the model in the system. Okay? Because this is what real estate used to look like. Real estate used to look like you come into the industry, you spend 7 years, you build a database, you service those people. If anybody remembers the real estate agents that were floating around 20 years ago, they were high level. They knew everything about the market. They could tell you every single person that was in the community. But then tech came in. And then we got hungry. And then it got easier. And we were like, wait a second, I'm just going to chase this. And we lost how professional this industry used to be. Because I can make money right now. Build a fence around your later business. Communicate systematically. Understand that you get to sell the product to everybody. And you'll have a great business in 2025. That's going to be my lead generation conversation for today. Do these 4 things and you'll build a business worth living. Vince is going to dive into reset.
It's awesome, man.
Biggest reasons that we talk about the same stuff over and over and over and over again, right? It's because there's not much else to talk about if you're not doing this. Right? How do you build a huge building? One brick at a time. But if you don't have that first brick in the right place, and you don't have a system that allows you to build a database, feed it, communicate with it systematically, and service all the leads, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter about like the 8th brick or what new awesome glitzy glamorous thing you're going to have for your clients. None of it matters if you're not doing those 4 things. Does that make sense? So I want to pivot a little bit to this idea of reset. So we've been having tons and tons of conversations around goal setting. You agree? Has everybody been in the process or have already completed goal setting? Right? For the GPS and the 411, do we know what a GPS and a 411 are? Yeah. Goals, priorities, strategies, right? So that's our 1-page business plan. Then our 411 is our accountability tool. What's the one thing I have to do this week to achieve my 1 goal this month? What are the 4 things that I have to do through the month, right? 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. I'm sorry. So I want to go into this idea of reflect though, or of reset though. So we've done this, we've planned, I want to slow down a little bit and say, okay, what's a great strategy or a great system that I can leverage, a great model that I can leverage to evaluate the last year and then really truly set a plan moving into the future. We do this I do this quarterly for myself, right? Where the number one thing is I reflect. I say, what one accomplishment this year am I most proud of? What happened last year that I said, whoa, that was epic? Or what challenge did I overcome that I thought that maybe when I was trying to overcome it, I didn't think I was going to be able to, but then I did, right? What am I really proud of? And start there. And then second, what are some of the challenges that I had that maybe I didn't overcome yet, that I'm still in the process of overcoming? Write those down as well. But reflect on the year and then evaluate. Say on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably rate this a 8, or I'd rate this a 6. Now, I'll give you a little tip. You can't use 7. We're always going to go and use 7. Don't use 7. Either 6 or 8, there is no 7, right? And evaluate it. Now, don't judge it though. Just evaluate. I'm going to give it a 6, but I'm going to be all right with it. Okay, that's fine. And then I'm going to simplify it, right? I'm going to say, all right, what could I have stopped doing that nobody would have noticed? And I'd write that question down. What could I stop doing that nobody would have noticed? Ben just eloquently talked about this idea that we literally waste 99% of our time and money if we just focus on now business. And I know a lot of people in the room know me. I do that, right? So what you're telling me is that I just wasted 99% of the time, wasn't doing the right activity, right? So simplify it down to what do I have to understand? And then establish a plan. That's your GPS, your 411. So what's my plan to achieve my new goal into 2025? And then I'm going to time block for it. Who is really, really great at time blocking? Then one person here for sure. Right? Time blocking is hard. Why is time blocking hard? There's a bunch of stuff comes up. It's boring, right? Consistency, right? What else? Those are a couple that I heard. Discipline, right? It feels very rigid, right? Controlling 100%. It feels like I can't have any flexibility.
Like feeling a real job.
Yeah.
And we're not in this world.
We're not in a challenge, but I'm not gonna do it now, but I'll challenge that. It's a little time.
Trying to climb, like,
Yes.
I work in terms of we like being out and about and doing different things. We're not wanting to come outside. Yeah, but that's why we do what we do. That's, we don't talk to people, we don't want to be confined.
Yeah, humans need structure.
Yes, I know.
Right. Without structure, right, we're going to do that. We're just gonna run around like chickens with our head cut off because doing the 20%, the things that are the highest dollar producing activities, the things that are gonna move the needle the most, we do everything we can in our power to avoid them and justify the fact that the 80% is so noisy. Oh, I have to do this first. Oh, I have to, because the 20% is boring, it's monotonous, right? It has to be structured, it's annoying. However, when we do that, we completely change our life. But appreciating that routine creates rhythm can help you get out of that trap of it being rigid, right? Routine creates rhythm and rigidity creates freedom. And when I say rigidity, I don't mean be rigid with your entire day. I mean be rigid with 2 hours of it. Honestly, if you don't do it, start with 1 hour of it. Be really rigid. This is the highest dollar producing activity. I'm going to do the DTT2 today for this 1 hour time block. And then whatever comes up the rest of the day is what it is. But I did the one thing that is going to basically make me money tomorrow. And then lastly, I'd ask one question at the end of every day. Justin, I do that, Ben, do this. Would I hire myself tomorrow based on my activities today? Would I hire myself tomorrow based on my activities today? Sometimes the answer is a no, right? That's okay. The game, don't string 2 no's together. I literally walked into Joseph's office on Wednesday. We were talking. What day is today? Thursday? October. And I said to him, it's like, God, we were talking about something, I don't remember what it was, but. I was like, you know what, I'm hiring myself today based on my activities yesterday. And he's like, yeah, me too. I wouldn't hire myself Monday. And he told me, I just made sure that I didn't have 2 days of no. And that gamify it, but have fun. But that time block piece, if you can just time block 1 hour every day and then expand it, I promise you, at the end of next year, you'll be closer to your goal, if not achieving your goal, as compared to maybe this year if you didn't time block. It is huge. So this idea of reset, I would write it down and I would take it and I would do it quarterly as we're in pursuit of our goal. And then on top of this reset conversation, Ben's going to share 10 questions that Gary Keller shares at the end of every year. He does this, where he walks through, and it's literally a reflection of what do I want into the future and what have I done in the past. Does this make sense? Any ahas in this reset exercise?
Well, I'm glad that
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
brought up the fact that time blocking doesn't mean with every second of your day is left, because in experience, we would scratch over that. So the second thing is a task fills the time allotted. And so if every kid gets your romper room, because we like to be out just kind of bouncing around, then you'll get to the end of your day. It's wait a minute, yeah, I'm super busy. Okay, well, what did I do? Holy cow, nothing that moved the needle forward with, with our businesses. And so something that she and I always kind of emphasize is give us 2 hours, 2 hours of time blocked, focused, nothing can interrupt the energy. Do your activities 1%, move the needle forward, and then you can take the rest of the day to do the fun stuff, newsletter, social media, whatever. But again, compounding the domino effects, get in the habit of executing that, and then your pipeline will be full.
You get comfortable with time you're not going to be available.
Yeah.
Like that's, and you know what? No one's gonna die.
Well,
Right? That's the hardest part that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so used to responding. I'm fearful, like if I take, but think about that expectation that you're setting. It is so grossly unrealistic. There's not a person in a real estate transaction that reacts the way that we do.
And problems always get solved when you give them time. And most of the time,
Some of the time.
drop everything and get to them, they figured it out. And so you're almost doing those around you a favor by being.
And I also think the surprise about how you'll have is how little actually people need you during that time. Like I'll come out of time blocks and I'll be like, oh my gosh, there's so many things that are gonna happen. And I'll be like, huh. Nobody needs this. What happened?
And another point to that is when we had a bigger goal, right, than we did the year prior. What's really funny is there's this misnomer that we have to do more to achieve it. Actually, you have to do less. You have to do more of the one thing that matters, which is probably talk to people. But in order to do that, you have to do less. There's a great book called 10x is better than 2x, right? In order to get better, you have to get different. But what we've found as we're going through our GPSs for the companies, we've found that we actually can do, we have to do less. Like my calendar is condensed. I need to do less, assuming I do the things that are most important and do more of those that I didn't do because I gave myself an excuse and said, oh, all this stuff is so urgent and important. Well, that's BS. Just do this one thing, more of it, and then don't do any of that. It doesn't even matter. So when we get rid of that idea that we have to do more to achieve more, and we believe that I just have to do more of the one most important thing and actually do less as a whole, it's very freeing. It's a really good concept.
I would like to point to that. Just me personally, if I have stuck to that and done the things that I needed to do to move it forward, that free time that I have is much more pleasurable.
Yes, because because when you do the things you knew would move the needle forward, when you do have that flexibility, which I get it, we all want to be in real estate because of uncapped income potential, have my own thing, freedom and flexibility. Yeah. Newsflash, it's earned. You don't just get freedom and flexibility, because if you do take advantage of the freedom and flexibility right off the rip, What's the fourth thing you get? Broke.
Yes.
I don't see all this stuff, right? I know what's hard to hear, but I'm not kidding.
Broke is not kid.
It is what happens, right? So it's like everything in life, that freedom and flexibility. So when we do the right things through the day, when we do when we do the right things during the day, focus on that 20%, even for a small amount of time. When we do have that freedom, I'm not thinking about, oh, I should have done that.
Right.
Oh, I didn't call that person. Oh, you truly get free. It's crazy how it works. So what are the 10, anything else there?
Just one thing,
Go.
I just wanna add, it's also an avoidance technique. We avoid the things that we think we're not good at, but the only way to get better is to keep doing it. And so every time we have our power hour, we say, get on the phone, no one wants to get on the phone because they haven't exercised the muscles, you gotta keep exercising the muscle.
That's right.
And they also don't have faith that it works. So when we talk about time blocking, one of the mental shifts that my first team leader had for me was I was struggling with consistency around my time blocking, showing up every single day to do my one job, which is talk to people. So my time blocking for my talk to people was showing up inconsistently. She sat me down and she said, all right, let's take how much money you made last year. How much did you prospect? She said, okay, so every hour you prospect is worth $986. And she says, so Ben, if you came into my office and you said, Ben, I made 120 calls and I handed you $986 cash, would you do it every single day? If I said, if you make 120 calls, I don't care what they say to you, they can tell you you're the worst person in the world, but if you make 120 of them, whatever your lead generation activity is, if you make 120 of them, I'll give you $986. What would you do?
Absolutely.
But you wouldn't take a day off. You'd be, well, Ben, can I come in on Saturday? Ben, what if I do 2 hours and you pay me $1,800? Of course, Jackie. But we don't believe that's what happens, right? It's a lot like faith. She then said, if Jesus came down and shook your hand, you believe it. But you have to have faith that what you're doing now will get you what you want at the end of life. That's real estate.
That's a challenge with entrepreneurship.
That's a challenge. I have to have faith that what shows up, what I'm doing right now, will give me $986. But we don't have the faith. We think that making business cards will do it. Posting on social media will do it. But what is our job? Talking to people. So if you're going to time block one thing, make sure it's the time you talk to people.
That's right.
Awesome. And then the question, the Garrison question, so this is going to shift more towards, you're going to build a business. That's what we've just talked about for the past 40 minutes of building a business. But you have to know what it's all for. So Gary asked 10 questions and I'll try to breeze through them as quick as I can and get you guys out here a little bit early. But still, the first question he asked is who you are. I'm not going to dive into his answer on all of them, but the first one he asks is who you are. Who are you? Gary says he's a spiritual being, have a physical experience. The second that he thinks that this physical experience is bigger than his spiritual experience, he's lost sight of where he's going. He's a spiritual being having a physical experience. That's who he is. What do you believe? That's his second question. Make sure you write these down and answer them for yourselves. Crystal will send them out in the follow-up email as well. So maybe don't write them down. We'll just watch for the email.
I put them in the chat as well.
Perfect. Number 2 is what do you believe? Gary believes that anything is possible and everything can be solved. Anything is possible. What do you believe? Number 3, what motivates you?
It's an important one.
Because it's hard.
Because it's hard. This year, like the last 2024, 2023 in real estate were challenging markets. Because why? Because they were becoming normal, honestly. And to us, normal was a house gets thrown onto the MLS or on Zillow and it sells in 24 hours. That was normal, which isn't actually. And now, what's the average days on market now? Like in Charles, it's something around 30.
107.
But it gets, right on IMB, it's longer. But it's normalized, right? But it's hard, and hard things, we don't like, we're humans, we don't like to do hard things. It's okay, nobody wants to do hard things. However, if you're motivated by what you get by doing those hard things, you have massive clarity around what it is that motivates you to do the hard things. Your life totally changes. And that's and that motivation will change over time. And sometimes you don't really know, but it's about the pursuit of finding out. right? That motivating piece is a really important piece.
Yes, and I think part of it for me was, um, I didn't want it to be, once I realized that that's not greed talking, because when I look back at the people that I've actually helped, that's the motivation then. How many people can I actually help? Because they're so thankful at the end and they're so happy at the end. I don't want to miss out. If I don't do my job, they may miss out on it. So I really, once I shifted that a little bit, because I'm just so not great, like, money's good for the good it can do, and that's great, but I don't want to miss that opportunity of actually helping somebody.
Right.
And so maybe that is a little bit greedy, because I love that feeling that I get, like just truly helping them. But
Let's reframe that. If you feel greed, somebody's gonna buy or sell, somebody's gonna sell or help the seller buy that house.
right,
So if you don't reach out to them, that means you feel that they're better served by somebody else. And what you just said to me is not the case.
Which is awesome.
So
Great perspective. It's a great shift in getting around that, because I think a lot of people do feel that way. It's like, how do you shift that mindset to the importance that you want that person to have the same experience versus an inferior experience?
Can I piggyback on that?
please,
I talked to an agent on my way in, actually, she's in Augusta, and she's like, I don't have a big why. And I said, so she used to have a Mary Kay business, so I kept digging in, and she said, with Mary Kay, she just loved teaching women how to, actually do makeup and take care of their skin. And with houses, she likes to teach, especially first-time home buyers, and she got so excited talking about it. But she's thinking about going inactive, and I said, let's back up and punt. If you go inactive, who's going to help those 7 buyers that are waiting until the beginning of the year? Can they be served as good as you can serve them? And it's the service part. So I'm never gonna make, well, never say never, $1 million in GCI. But I damn love what I do and taking care of. And that's what motivates me. And it took me a long time to understand. I'm not gonna be one of these, 7th level teams. But I love what I do, and it's exactly what she's talking about. It's the service to the people.
sure, so people like.
Absolutely, well, like, I think you gotta think about it too, like, if you genuinely care about people, you're gonna take care of them, like, you're gonna service them better than they would get service through someone else who doesn't care as much, and like that should be telling you, like, listening to their needs goes a long way. That's that's obviously great referrals and stuff, like any relationship that, that's kind of a good way to look at it too.
If you are not serving your database, they are going to click on an online lead and be served by somebody who isn't you. That's a promise. Somebody else will serve your client, not to the level in which you care about them.
That's exactly what we're doing.
So reframe that. The next question was, why do you work so hard? It's a similar question. Why do you work so hard? This isn't a fun, it's fun when we're serving our clients, but we can all agree, this is a service industry, right? You get your real estate license, you make $1 million, but it's really hard to do that. There's a lot of stress. You're dealing with somebody, and let me put that, if you're not stressed about the real estate transaction, this is the biggest thing that's going on in somebody's life, right? When they are buying or selling or investing in real estate, this is the biggest thing happening in their life. And it's the only thing that they're doing, but you're doing it for 10 people at once. And at no point can you act like you're doing it for 10 people at once for the one person. That's why this industry is so hard. They have emotional swings going on left and right, and your job, as they talk about in the video, to give them wings and not let them crash. But you have to do that with 10 different people at once. That's why it's so hard.
And to add on top of that, not only asking why do you work so hard, ask, are you really working hard?
That's a great question.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Like, if I'm coming in here and I'm teaching at night and I see that people are talking and they're not focused on why they're here, what their why is, I'm not gonna wanna teach. And obviously if you're not focused on trying to do open houses, or whether it's open houses, cold calls, cancels, expires, knocking on doors, you have to know why you are here. Are you a stay-at-home mom and you just got your real estate license to do something? Are you a stay-at-home dad? Did you just get laid off from your job, if you're not looking for that next paycheck and you're not taking the suggestions that we're here up here telling you, why would we be up here teaching you how to do what you need to do in order to be the best? You can go do that somewhere else where it's, you're getting paid from transactions. I mean, you're paying the broker per transaction, or you could be here and get the training and use the resources that KW and Sparks are providing and do what you need to do. If you're not going to open houses, you're not doing enough. If you're not building and a relationship on your database, you're not doing enough. You're here because you want to be here, because you want to make a career, not because your spouse told you to go do something.
And I'll piggyback on what he's saying too, because this is the comment I make to agents. This is the only business that I know people want to try something once and do something for a couple of hours and expect to make $10,000.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way. There's work behind it.
There's what's really cool about these questions, right? It helps us combat the law of diminishing intent. So the law of diminishing intent just simply says that the energy level that I had and the energy that I got from when I intended to do something and I set that goal, that energy level only gets lower. So the further away I get from the day that I set that goal, my energy level to do that thing becomes less, right? So when you're 6 months into the year and you realize that you're 10 transactions behind your goal, and where you naturally, it's going to be pretty hard to go and jump back on the bike and say, all right, I'm going to increase my activity so that I can still, I'm usually just going to lower my goal. It's because the law of diminishing attention, you don't remember why it was important to you in the first place. So I would write down, like, when I set a goal, why is this important? What do I get? How does this make my life different? And keep that in front of you all the time. And that's one strategy to overcome the law of diminishing intent, right? Because why do you work so hard? And then asking yourself, am I really working that hard? Right? It's challenging. So we have to know that motivating piece. Why did I start this?
We also have to know when enough is enough. Right. Gary says I can never have enough of some things. Time with family. But when is enough enough? Define that for you. The next question he asks is, what do you want or need control? No, he goes, yeah, what do you want or need control over? What this year do you want or need control over going into next year? And this does not have to be business, but Gary always wants control of his time. And what do you fear? The next question is, what do you fear? Give it a name to make it less scary. The example of that is you just make a big purchase. And then you walk out of the store and you're feeling like, oh, I've done that. They can give it a name called buyer's remorse. And it's like, oh, I'm feeling buyer's remorse. And you keep on stepping. What do you fear? What do you fear? Give it a name to make it less scary. And what brings meaning? What regrets are you trying to avoid? There's a couple stories I'll tell you on these last three, but what regrets are you trying to avoid? If you don't revisit your regret, you're destined to repeat it. The story goes, Jason Abrams, if you know who he is, he flew all over the country. And one day, Jack, his son, had a show and tell. This is what my dad does. And he came in and Jason is a real estate agent at the time. And he comes into the class and Jack stands up in front of his class and this is my dad, Jason, and he's a pilot. He didn't know what his dad did. Jason obviously went on to talk about how he basically gave the story of Top Gun and had the kids' minds blown, but he wasn't. Yeah.
He played the part of a pilot. That was the best
He
part.
plays part of the pilot. But what happened is 10 years later, he looks up because he's traveling all over the country and he realizes he hasn't seen his parents in 18 months. What regrets are you trying to avoid? If you don't revisit your regrets, you're destined to repeat them. What regrets are you trying to avoid? How do you bring meaning to your life? Really sit on these last two, and we're going to give you an exercise for who you are at the end. And before you really build your business plan, I want to sit on who are you at the end, but how do you bring meaning to your life, and then who are you at the end? And to go off of Jason's story, I've told the story a couple times, but Jason says that Jason, Gary, and Jay, they sit in a room all day and they just learn, they just put together classes to bring to real estate agents. They just say, how can we better serve real estate agents? And today was a little different this day. And Gary says, hey, Jason, write me your eulogy. And I don't know what had led up to Gary saying this, but he says, Jason, write me your eulogy. So Jason's like, okay, weird, but it's Gary Keller. He pays my bills. I'll write my eulogy. So he writes his eulogy and he hands it to Gary. And Gary reads through it and he says, well, who's reading it, Jason? He goes, what do you mean? Well, at your funeral, who's going to read your eulogy? And he says, my son, Jack. He says, okay, so go back, rewrite the eulogy, but from Jack's perspective. This one's a little harder, right? He says, okay, he's writing a eulogy from his son's perspective. At the end of his life, what is his son going to say about him? Who knows what's in the letter, but Gary read it and he's like, wow, this is great. Let's go get Jay. So he goes, Jay passes in and he says, Jason, read your eulogy. So Jason reads his eulogy from Jack's perspective to Jay. Then he goes, gets another person from KWR and another person from KWR. And after he's read his eulogy about 10 times to people at KWR, Gary says, all right, go up to that whiteboard and write what you did with Jack last night. And he wrote, I did not see Jack last night. So who are you in the end? And does your plan on a daily basis put that together? Because he's sitting there writing the eulogy from his son's perspective, but the night prior, and probably the night prior, he didn't see his son. So who's his son going to see him at the end? My dad, Jason, works really hard, and he bought a really big house. Who are you in the end? So sit there. Who's reading your eulogy? And are you that person? Because that person doesn't start on January 1st. That person starts today. And there will be days that you're not that person in 2025, but you have to go back to it. Who am I in the end? Instead of saying, would I hire myself today? Did I live the life that Jack would want me to today? Because you can work really, really hard in 2025 and you can cold call your butt off and you can make $500,000 or $1 million, I don't care. But if it's not the person you want to be at the end, it was all for naught. And in 2 years, after working really hard, you're going to get burnout. You're going to have not spent time with Jack, and it's going to be for naught. So, as you go into 2025, who are you in the end? Answer these 10 questions, build your plan, and execute. But make sure you're living the life that you want to live. And we are very thankful for the time we got to spend with you, but we do have some announcements, and then we'll let you go. Call it. Five.
Even through these real quick, these will also be in the team meeting recap.
Get it all adjusted here. Bear with me. Okay. Oh, Tech Minute. I actually wanted to do a live drive real quick on a couple of my favorite things on command, and I'm gonna try to make it really, really quick. There we go. I actually kind of to go back to this 36 touch plan that Ben was talking about. I think smart plans are the coolest things ever. And so we have ripped off and duplicated a couple of smart plans to give you guys some newsletters for 2025. Oh, Lord. I can't talk and type this at the same time. Great day, man. Here we go. But just a couple of new features that I wanted to point out. So the smart plans that I've created, they are already published in the library. So you can find them if you search, you can search by my name in the library, or you can search for 2025 Greater Charleston. And oops, I forgot Q4. I'll add that real quick, but just to show you what they are. All right, you guys can download this. You can start it for the new year. Okay, we've got newsletters already built out for you to go out and call reminders for you to go out.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
All right, it's got wait 7 days, reach out. You've got add to the monthly neighborhood nurture. You've got send a February email. Here's the February newsletter. Okay, like basic, but You can't edit too much on it, I will say, sorry about that, but these are here for you. All you have to do is hit start. Okay, so utilizing smart plans to give yourself the tasks, to time block the time to time block the time to add everyone in your database to these smart plans. Like if that's one thing that you do before the end of the year, please do that. So we've got it, and let me add Q3 real quick, since we're here.
Everything works, nothing doesn't.
Exactly.
Probably not using smart plans, you don't have a newsletter. Stop telling yourself I have to create the perfect one, just take that. Let's go, right? And then optimize.
Yeah, but our mine will look a little bit better.
Yeah, well, I can totally get
Time on
The
that.
margin, when you take your box, certainly the merchants that say your margins are perfect, you actually sell 10 more houses.
Great.
Exactly why I'm waiting to say like, yeah.
My other favorite thing, so I don't know if you guys have noticed these little stars at the bottom right of your command homepage. This is a Keller Williams AI, and it is already, oops, sorry, y'all. It's already plugged in with the MREA. It's plugged in the economic model. It's got the one thing. It's got every playbook that Keller Williams has ever created. And you can see here, one of the prompts, like we talked about your value proposition, what steps should I take to define my value proposition? And boom, it's going to spit out an answer. We've got a lot of people on the Wi-Fi, but here we go. If you don't know what your value proposition is, or you need help creating it, here's a baseline. Get a value proposition created, plug it back in and say, are there any adjustments I can make? Or how can I make this sound more fun? Or how can I make this sound more Southern? Like whatever fits into your personality and fits into your group. I think this, this is the 3.0. The 3.0 launched literally this week. So it's just got some extra, all the brand new playbooks from the playbook volume 2 already plugged in. So this is a great, these two great, like if you could live anywhere, live in smart plans and live in the AI. Those are the two spots. So that's my tech minute. I also have this QR code here. If anyone wants to get on my calendar for tech consulting, I'll be sending out some emails in the new year. But please get with me. I'd love to show you how to leverage your stuff.
Love that.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Last thing is, so every year, over the last, let's call it 6 years, I don't know what it's been. The leadership team has always gotten together, and then based on all of our conversations, based on things that we've seen through the year, based on different recommendations from agents, things of that nature, we would select a cultural ambassador. This year, we're doing it different, right? I don't remember who they were last year. They were also not.
Ronnie.
Mike
And Mike Green.
That was a confusion. So, Mike and Ron, they're saying everything here. So this year, what we're doing is we're asking the agent base, right? So this will be in the recap, the whole 9 yards. But I'm going to ask you, and think about people that have helped through the year with your business, or people that every time you call them, they pick up the phone and they can help you, right? Maybe top agents that you've called, they've given you smart plans, or they've given you different things that they've leveraged in their business, just like you ripped off and duplicated it. Or people that have given, or people that you know. Let's talk to a lot of people, right? A lot of agents in the office. So we're going to ask you to nominate our cultural ambassadors for the year. That's all, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I was just taking a deep breath, but I did want to finish the slides at this point, so go ahead.
So take a picture of your like I'm saying something dumb, which I usually do. Take a picture of this, nominate somebody that maybe has helped you, that's close to your heart. You feel like it's truly embodied the culture that we have to take up, the Y4C2Ts, the idea of win-win, no deal, right? Cold creativity idea for results, the whole 9 yards. Because this is an awesome, awesome award. And it's one that a lot of the agents, a lot of us, we really cherish and we really appreciate. Because when they are selected, and then whoever wins, we'll do like a tally of the whole 9 yards, whoever wins, they then are the Charleston representatives for culture, the culture ambassador for the region.
Yeah.
Right. Last year, Mike and Lonnie were there with us at the culture summit. So awesome opportunity. Run through the next ones.
We have launch week and an abbreviated version of Ignite starting in January. This is going to be 2-week long. Launch week is 1 week. Ignite's going to be 1 week as well. So we've heard some feedback that Ignite's a little long, but it's good material. So Joseph, is working on that. We're not gonna get into too much detail. Go ahead.
The most important thing about launching is how to.
Yeah.
How do I do all things real estate? And then a big night, and what do I have to think about? What are the activities that I have to take on a daily basis to build my business? Talk to more people, serve more people, the whole 9 yards. And the best part about it is it's going to be taught by the top agents in the market center, some of the top agents in the market center. So you get the opportunity to learn. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're brand new to the industry or have been in it for 30 years, it doesn't matter. Going back to the fundamentals and the foundation, right, is always important. So you absolutely will learn something from going through Ignite.
Good. We are doing a New Year's oyster roast. We have a good bit of signups already for this, so I know we're really excited. We're gonna have a band, oysters. I know, sorry, Shenandoah, you're gonna be there, but at Magnolia Plantation and Gardens, it's gonna be a really fun event. Please sign up. Go ahead, Holly. Jordan Freed. So this is gonna kind of go into the next portion. Jordan Freed was scheduled by the region to come in January 21st and 22nd. So it was James Shaw's decision to postpone Rise. It's going to be now February 13th. I wanted to get that announcement out. February 13th, it is still happening here at Park Circle. I just wanted to let everyone know now. So you can mark your calendars down. Yep. But he didn't want you to have to decide between the two trainings, which is great. So we will have Jordan Freed up in Charlotte, January 21st, 22nd, and then Rise with James Shaw here locally, February 13th.
Y'all put James Shaw on your calendar. That whole conversation we were having about motivation and service and how you do your business. He's just put him on your calendar.
It's amazing. We'll get onto the shift call every week or every day. Every morning. It's a great resource. Go to shift, what is it? Pivot Shift Ahead.
Yep.
And that Facebook group, join that Facebook group and you'll have there's a live every morning. And a Zoom every morning. That really starts your mindset on the right foot. So
He did a call with Gene Rivers yesterday. That's on the Facebook page. You can go back and listen to it. It's really good.
So the question is, how do we change the?
You're good.
How do we, television? Somebody gets like it's automatically on the 22nd.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
So family reunion's coming up. If you haven't gotten your ticket, you got one. If you want to learn more about family reunion, talk to anybody on leadership. Be a great event. It's a great way to generate agent referral network. Absolutely spectacular. With that, we went a little over. Is there anything else?
That's it.
Perfect. So, hey, good spending holiday.
No,